welcome to VHS Showdown.
Hello.
And today we've got a very special bonus episode.
Bonus.
Where we're not going into the old video store catacombs to find VHS, we're going to the old toy store.
It's like Toy Showdown.
Toy Showdown.
Toys R Us, if you will.
No, that's taken.
We agonised, didn't we, over this, what we were going to do for a special.
We didn't want to do films because we thought any film we talk about is going to maybe take away a film that we could review as part of the normal series. So we decided to do
where else do you go in the 80s, isn't it? It's music, it's film, or it's toys.
Well,
cartoons. I mean, there's possibilities around
I
this.
suppose.
Yeah.
It's all sort of mixed together, though, isn't it? Toys and cartoons. I mean, like, you know.
And maybe we'll talk about why now.
Maybe some people have got some facts about that.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about our sort of favourite toys and reminiscing over that. And we've got 3 categories each. Our favourite toy as a kid, the toy we wish we had, and what we believe is the greatest toy line of the 80s. Who would like to kick off with this one?
Oh, well, I'll take it. So my favourite was from 1983. And I don't know, it was so hard between He-Man, but I've come down on the side of my A-Team figures.
Pretend that you're Hannibal, Murdoch or Face, or maybe B.A. Baracus. You know which one is the case.
Oh.
They're 18 figures.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck, that's fucking rare.
Exactly, yeah. And
That
this
is
the thing.
obscure.
And again, I don't even know what happened. I've looked up online and I can't find them now. The figures you can, but I had the A-Team van as well, and it was the metal one.
Fucking hell.
And you can only get the plastic ones now. I think there might have been one metal one, but it looked like shit. It would have been a mini one.
If you still had this, I reckon it'd be worth a fucking fortune.
Well, I looked them up online. There's somebody selling the 4 main characters, so B.A. Face, Murdoch and Hannibal. They've obviously just very carefully taken them out of the box, so they've still got the original box and backing, and they're up for $850. But then there are people selling them individually, used for like £4.50. Yeah, there's really not that much demand for it by the look of it. I mean, I imagine obviously boxed and everything, you're looking higher end.
That wasn't a massive toy. I've seen
It wasn't. It wasn't. That's why it means so much. That's what edged it out for me. Is I remember, man, getting it for fucking Christmas morning. I remember coming downstairs, and it was like the 80s, of course. So fucking hell, you couldn't move for Christmas decorations. Shit hanging from the ceiling, all
that was all that
plastic,
sort of weird
cheap.
plastic shit.
Yeah. There was that pile sat there for me, and it was like fuck.
Were you a big A-Team fan?
Yeah, massive.
I think we all were in the 80s, weren't we?
A-Team and Knight Rider, really, wasn't it? It was kind of.
Were they the normal size figures, or were they the slightly larger ones?
6-inch. They were the 6-inch figures. They were kind of like the He-Man figures, and
because I did have a couple of Murdochs.
A couple of them?
Yeah, but they were the slightly bigger 18 figure.
like an Action Man size.
Yeah, a bit like Action Man size, but for some reason we had no other 18 figures at all, but the only ones we had were 2 Murdoch.
I think your parents would have just bought you something to shut you up.
Exactly,
yeah. Try and have this. They wouldn't have a fucking clue what it
Bionic
was.
6. I found a Bionic 6 figure that was on that was on there, and it was like this black dude who had like these little round glasses, and he had like metal arms and shit. And I was like randomly had this one fucking toy, and it was just
Rock Lords was what did it for me.
Yeah.
I had a Rock Lord,
Yeah,
but I wouldn't have been able to tell you what it was until I was like, fuck, I had that.
Yeah, so I had the Rock Lord,
Cocklord.
so I had the little gold Rock Lord, and for years I thought it must have just been a weird line that Transformers did for a bit, but it was like a rip-off, wasn't it?
What are they going to transform into? A rock.
Rock Lord, rocks that come alive. Rock Lord, fighting to survive, living rock with strength and might, rising up to crash and fight.
Yeah,
I mean, that's fucking so shit.
There's your fucking first
kids fucking love rocks. He's transformed into a rock, so now I'm just going to let him sit there.
There's a few of those, though, weren't there? You had like GoBots and that. What was the
GoBots came out before.
Voltron?
Voltron was before that, wasn't he? Voltron was more like Power Rangers, wasn't it?
Voltron was like a Japanese thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It
was like a big combiner.
I think I had a leg of Voltron, I think.
Just his leg?
Yeah, when he was like a panther or something.
Was it blue?
Yes, I think
and
so.
And his tail, it had like a white plasticky tail that you could lift up and down. I fucking had that.
Did you have 2 of them?
Didn't even know what it was.
Here's something else I had that I fucking probably should have kept hold of, but I think threw away because I was too thick to put it back together. I actually had the fucking Megatron that turned into a gun.
That's rare now because obviously they banned them because
obviously nobody could fucking figure it out.
Well, I never had it.
Fucking hell, it was a nightmare. It didn't.
Well, it kind of makes no sense because obviously Megatron was massive.
Well, I could talk about this for days. What they've developed now within the Transformers universe this. It's like it's mass shifting. So a lot of the Transformers, one of their powers is mass shifting. So there's like a pocket dimension within some of them. That's why they change
That's
size.
why they can be different
but
sizes.
it uses a lot of energon. That's like where like Optimus Prime's trailer goes sometimes.
Right, I see. Yeah, a bit like that. Okay.
That's what they're saying these days, anyway.
Right, makes sense. So yeah, your 18 ones in top.
Who made them?
It was actually a company called Galoob. I thought, well, who the fuck is this? So this company started in the South San Francisco in 1957. I'm guessing they had an English branch, but it says that shut in 1958. And then by 1998, they sold out the brand name and closed as a toy company. So it's like 41 years. But in that time, some of the stuff that franchised to them were toys. Some of them were film rights that they had rights to do stuff with. The 18 they had rights to, they were part of the Anastasia film in 97 or whatever. Biker Mice from Mars, Defenders of the Earth, they were behind the Game Genie. They had the rights to do stuff from the Ghostbusters film, but also they were behind Micro Machines.
The one and only outrageous original miniatures. Remember, if it doesn't say Micro Machines, it's not the real thing.
Oh, really? Well, that would have been big. They would have been.
Well, it said in 1989, Micro Machines accounted for 50% of the company's take.
I did really. Yeah. Well, Micro Machines. I think everyone had some Micro Machines, didn't they?
Bought out by Hasbro, weren't they?
Well, this company also had the rights to the Golden Girls toys.
Golden Girl and the Guardians of the Gemstone.
Golden Girl toys. There's some poor kid out there who, like, one Christmas in the late 80s, went down, opened up his thing, and someone bought
fucking Blanche.
Yeah, I got fucking Blanche Devereaux. So with the A-Team line, though, obviously you'd have the 4 members of the A-Team.
So you could
Who
get
else was there?
Face and Amy, and you could also get Face's Trans Am.
But you wouldn't have had any bad guys, though, would you?
It just
Well,
makes
this is
a
the thing,
generic
actually.
army, wouldn't it?
It's like a fucking load of people in packages that says bad guys.
Oh yeah, I have actually seen a picture of the bad
Python,
guys.
Viper, and Cobra.
Oh, they look like bad guys, mind, don't
They do, but they look a bit stereotypical bad guys. Look,
That one looks like you, Tom.
He's got a
with
fucking
an eye patch.
He's got a fucking eye patch.
And a handlebar moustache.
I don't remember them fighting any of these guys, so it would appear like, you know, they didn't bother with the army. That might have been a bit too tasteless or sensitive for them to mess with, so they gave them a load of make-believe baddies, and they all seem to be
Well,
coming
the TV series was kind of strange, wasn't it? The baddie would be like, oh, this guy owns a ranch and he's a bit of a twat, and that would be like the bad guy.
Essentially, that you are. I mean, they are fucking guns for hire, though, aren't they? 18. They're mercenaries. So
Well,
I mean,
they
like,
never kill anyone, though, do they?
Well, there is
No,
notoriously one episode where somebody dies.
Well, they kill him.
real horrific death, like.
No.
Death Boy on Bongo.
I've seen it on one of those kind of weird compilation programs that Alex Zane gets involved in.
Yeah.
Oh, he's alright.
Oh, it gets on my nerves. There is a death. I can't find it on YouTube, and if you Google it, it doesn't bring up any information, because that was the whole thing.
Dark
wasn't
and
it?
shameful time
Is
for the
underdog is being oppressed. Somebody goes to random place, finds the weirdest looking creature in the building. That's usually Hannibal Smith. You know, asking for help. He checks you out. The A-Team turn up the next day, beat the shit out of the oppressors.
Get locked in shed, make a
Make
tank.
fantastical device.
Yeah.
And he would have been dressed in some fancy dress.
That's why I said you look for the weirdest guy in there. He'd be a
'cause
dinosaur or something like that.
Not Mr. T out.
Break Murdoch out of a mental asylum.
Yeah.
Blow up a fucking army van with a direct hit. It'll flip over.
Shots from underneath of a bloke
crush them.
flying across the camera.
Crush them completely, set fire, and then like cut back 2 seconds later and the guy's getting out nice and unharmed. But again, when you're a kid, you know what I mean, that never even occurred to me that I was watching the same story every week with different people.
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
Well, the same as like Baywatch or whatever. When you watch it as a kid, I didn't understand until I was older. It was like, oh, it was all about the tits.
That's what they could have done with 18 when they did Baywatch Nights. They could have had like 18 nights.
A-Watch nights. Yeah. You like an A-Watch.
Are we getting more back into the realms of TV and film?
Yeah. So that was your favourite toy line?
Yeah.
So, Al, what was your favourite toy?
It is tough, isn't it, to try and choose them, but I did go for Mask. Only because I had a fucking shit ton of
This is your favourite toy line you're saying now, though? Which is your favourite toy?
This is my favourite toy.
Yes.
Yeah, my favourite toy. So the Mask toys were
Your
my
favourite toy
Well,
was...
your favourite toy was all of them.
Oh, you want a specific...
Yeah.
Well, come back to me.
Lee, what was your favourite
Come back to
individual
me.
toy?
Wow, it's so tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've written 3 down
Oh, right.
There's a hoop with a stick in there.
because
A spinning top.
I'm only like fucking 3 months older than you.
According to the hairline.
Fucking hell. That's rich. So, a toy now, which I think is the only toy that I've still got from my actual childhood, was the Marshmallow Man figure from
class.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, that's
class.
a cool toy.
It's so fucking cool, and it's like it's just
massively out of proportion, though.
oh yeah. But as a figure, it's fucking
amazing,
cool. I used to be
yeah.
such
They
a fan
nailed
of
it.
Solid,
They
but
did.
it's lasted bastard.
And you could use its foot as a water pistol because it would suck water out.
Because you could squeeze
it in
his
the bag.
belly.
Insides are black as fuck.
Yeah, they would have been. You squeeze, yeah.
You could squeeze his belly.
So
a
I've
bit,
still got that at
yeah.
home, and I've actually got a boxed one
Fucking hell.
Nice.
in protective
Wow.
case
In
and
a box.
everything. So I've got my childhood one, and I think I've actually picked up another one since I've got in Bill's room. I got a lot of Ghostbusters shit that Christmas because that was like the year for it. I remember my fucking dog Ziggy had got the Winston figure, and I got back from Christmas dinner, and he like fucking mutilated it. It was, ah!
You saying your dog was a racist?
Well, potentially. I mean,
He was many things, that dog.
yeah. I mean, I'm not saying he wasn't.
Right, okay, so Stay Puft Man is in there then?
It's
What
in
your
there.
favourite, if not your favourite toy?
Yeah.
What did you shortlist? Go on.
Well, the other part of the shortlist was this playset from Hordak, where it was a glove puppet that came through like a wall, and it was like a He-Man, you know.
Hordak's Castle.
It
Hordak's
wasn't.
Castle. It was the frontage, and then it had a wall that came off the side, and that was the way.
And it had
put
like,
a
it
glove
was like
puppet.
dragon or something, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was
yeah,
a
that's
lizard.
awesome.
And wasn't there
Yeah.
like slime with it as well? I was up with another
Mate,
set.
that might have been something else. I don't know if that's slime.
But yeah, so you had a glove puppet and you put it through and you could, yeah.
That one's
So
cool.
that was another one that was like cool.
I think I got that from a card boot.
Did you? Just going back to sort of big toy lines, I think I'd have to go for the fucking AT-AT from Star Wars because it is fucking big.
Did you have
Massive.
it?
Yeah.
Did you? Fucking
And
awesome.
it was so cool. And it had like the fucking guns on its chin that moved when you pressed
The
the
light up,
button. And
they lit up as well, didn't they? Yeah.
And it is so big. Toys then were massive.
They were. They arguably better as well.
You look like something like Castle Grayskull. It was massive.
It's like the last day of term or something at primary school, and we had, the classic hall with that fucking really short carpet that if you skidded on your knees, you're taking skin off. It was horrible shit, but it was great for these kids brought in these Tonka toys, and they were like Arctic lorries, but they were sitting on the lorry part. These kids were riding these fucking toys. And
Yeah.
it wasn't supposed to be a ride on car, but they were so big.
Tonka toys were fucking brilliant, man. We had a
well
big like
chunky, yeah.
dumper truck one. It was like this big fucking black dumper truck, and it was just fucking huge and built like you couldn't dent it or do it. You could smash it around in the garden, and it was perfectly fine by the end of a playtime. It was amazing, like
Yeah, they
amazing
were
things.
well built, decent toys they were. Right, so my favourite single toy as a kid was my Boglin. I think I did really love my Boglin at the time. I just remember really sort of loved playing with it, and you had the box that was.
Did you put your dick in his mouth?
How old are you? Well, so
They were slightly after my
Lee
time.
and I are
Boglins.
43 and Murph is 40, so I think this ever so slightly, that little age gap now back then shows, because Boglins for me were like,
It was just after.
it was like they were around.
While you were playing with your primitive tin fucking 18 thing, I was I had something like multi-faceted Boglin. His eyes could move, and it's fucking.
You were with the other million people that had them.
I was,
I
yes.
was in the corner on
But-
my own playing with my fucking
Dick.
fucking prestigious
But they were
one-off.
pretty Boglins. I don't know if you have a Boglin, but they were pretty good. And because
They were cool.
They
Practical,
felt weird as well, didn't they?
because of, like practical effects were big back then. You could really feel like you were Jim Henson or something when you were manipulating it.
I do
The
remember them.
eyes, you could like move the eyes individually
yeah.
and all of they were
Yeah.
real cool.
Did you have a name for
They
it?
only had stalks,
no,
though, didn't
probably,
they?
but I
If
can't
remember
remember. I
rightly.
think-
You just wiggled the stalk.
I think you could
Yeah.
put your fingers into like little like nubbin things.
Yeah, it was like a bowling ball inside.
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
And you could move your fingers like into his nose and stuff, so you
Yeah.
could really get quite expressive with it. I remember I used to have loads of fun playing with that and doing the voice.
I know they were big, don't get me wrong, they was just like the wrong side of me being,
You were too cool. What were you doing? Smoking fags and drinking whiskey.
It's very simple though, Boglin, isn't it?
What do you mean?
Well, it's like, my men could get in the van and go on adventures and stuff, and like, you walk around with this thing on your hand and...
But no, it was like a different being, wasn't it? It was my little pet. It was, yeah. If I can take this from me. Jesus. my childhood, man.
He's going in.
Pooing his Boglin,
Yeah,
like.
yeah. So my Boglin was my favourite toy, I think. What was yours, Al?
Well, tough, really tough. I suppose the one that I could kind of sticks out really is Pirate Lego. I had so much Pirate Lego, and there was one little pirate island that had sort of like a jail on there and like little palm trees, and you had little
Yeah, my mate had
gold
that.
chests and all that sort of shit.
And the sharks.
Yeah. We had so much fucking Lego, like Lego boards, and you could like build the city and stuff on the boards.
So-
And you would, but I think that one sort of Lego pirate island with like the jail and all that sort of stuff was probably something that I probably played with the most out of a lot of stuff.
Every kid had like their different Lego line that they had, and like the one that I had loads of was the space one, and it had like the
Yeah.
magnets, and you could pick little spaceships out of the magnets.
Do you remember the
and that.
knights? All the castles
Yeah,
and
they
all
were
the
pretty
knights
cool.
and stuff. That was great. They had a Robin Hood, and that was fucking fantastic. Like some of the early Lego lines were fucking amazing. Like absolute absolutely amazing. Like.
What Lego line did you guys sort of lean to?
Space one. Like, I can remember fucking really being excited about finishing that as well. Yeah, that was the only real one I ever got from start to finish. It was like a giant fucking, just like a spaceship, but with a fucking lids and lights and shit like that. And oh yeah, you could press a button to fucking make a sound as well.
But that was like the beginning of Technics, wasn't it? The Lego
yeah,
Technics
yeah.
sort of stuff. Yeah. I used to love those clear discs that you could get with some of the Lego. They were just a little piece, but they were like see-through, and you could put them on the end of their guns, and they would look like fucking yellow. Like
I did have some Lego, but I just had like a box of bricks.
Yeah.
I used to
Actual
make
bricks.
I used to make a maze and then put a lid on it and then put fucking woodlouse in there and shut it. So they had to get out.
He's fucking Egon.
They would get out the other side, or they wouldn't get out.
yeah, that's good. That's good.
You just put a fucking woodlouse in a maze you built from Lego.
Yeah.
That's good.
With the Lego boards that you could like build the cities on and stuff, my oldest brother, when we had one of our hamsters called Gizmo, he had this hamster on the centre of this massive Lego board. Kids, they were quite flimsy, like you could flick them, and like he flicked it so hard this hamster went fucking flying and hit the roof and like landed back on. It was alive, it was fine, it was fine, but
You put him in a maze and put the end of the maze going up your
I
ass.
swear to this day he still feels fucking guilty about that, which is fantastic.
Anybody else torture any animals or insects with Lego at all? I never tortured anything like that as a child, but we had this lad who was staying with my uncle this one time, and we went there and he had this model train set, and he was a bit older than me, and we were sat there and he got this fucking daddy long legs and he fucking tied it to the track.
Fucking how did you tie it to the fucking
With,
track?
like, fucking sellotape and shit, and then he looked at the fucking track and had the train run over him like some
hell.
sort of damsel.
Where is he now? I bet he's fucking.
I imagine he's killed a man by now.
He's
or
a banker.
something. Yeah. He's Prime Minister. So that's our individual favourite toys. So what was the toy you wish you had as a kid?
This is kind of like pushing genres a bit here. The toy that I always wanted, the Game & Watch Donkey Kong game.
Yeah.
Remember, like Toby had it at school, and it was fucking amazing.
John
And,
Menzies, man. You should have gone to John Menzies.
well, you know,
Downstairs in Chad's.
and one day I was allowed to get it, and we went around all of Hereford, couldn't fucking find it, because that's the thing, there's no internet. It's like you want something, you can't get it. You can't get it, can you? And I remember I wanted it for my birthday, and they took me around town, and I was so fucking disappointed. The closest thing I could find was that fucking. Do you remember that Kong Man game? It was like a fucking board
Kong
game.
Man?
Yeah. They were like, oh, there it is.
Metallic King Kong
That's it.
fucking game thing.
It's like, oh, there it is. It's Kong Man. I was like, that's not it. That's not it. I was just like fucking like. That was the last resort. I didn't get it, although I was like distraught. But that's what I always wanted, and I bought it off eBay about 7 years ago.
Oh.
And I played it once. Ended up in a drawer, and I sold it last year.
Did you make a profit on it?
Yeah. You know the game systems we got, like 20,000 games?
Yeah.
They're on those. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
I don't know if I had it. I remember playing it, so I think maybe one of my mates had it.
They had like Maribor Cement Factory, and there was a few different ones.
I think I used to fucking, was it Bomb Jack? I think I played on one, or Super Bomb Man.
That would have been one of those LCD ones, but this particular line.
What's that?
It was just like a fucking
It was like
black
a super
screen, wasn't it?
fucking
It was just
shit
like
fucking Game Boy. Do you know what I mean? But it had one game on it, and it was just like
It just lit up the LCD. It was like black shapes. Wasn't it?
Well, I had a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one that I fucking loved.
Oh, I remember that. It's a
Really,
great
really
big.
good. It's a big controller, and that game I fucking nailed that. I used to play it all the time.
I bet you didn't. I bet you were shit on it.
I was fucking fast.
Wasn't that like a bit of a side-scrolly type thing? That Turtles one.
There was a side-scrolling one.
That was like those little LCD screens.
Well, this one I just remember you like jump around with the turtles, and like foot soldiers would come in. You'd have to jump around and take them on and stuff.
I am fucking confused. I don't mind telling you.
Do you want to talk about A-Team again for a bit?
Good.
Okay, so that was what Lee wanted. I think the toy that I really, really wanted and never had, and I only ever fucking saw it on TV, was one of the really big Zoids. Either the fucking Gorilla Zoid.
Gore was the name of the fucking gorilla.
Or the big fucking
Zoidzilla.
Zoidzilla.
Yeah, I forgot about fucking Zoids.
Man,
I bought Zoidzilla from a car boot as well.
Did you?
Like 5 years ago, and then I sold it on eBay about a year ago.
Man.
I just had it in its box in my office.
Did you get it? Did you?
I did for a bit, and then I put it back, and I was like,
What was
Because he used to move and shit.
Zoids, they were
man.
like fucking mad tech. They had so many parts, and you built them into big like dinosaurs or like monsters.
They used to have a little bit of it there. It was all like, not like Lego, but like a bit like Meccano or whatever, and you used to put it together. Each Zoid had like a little cockpit sort of thing.
It had a little man in it, yeah.
Yeah, like there was some giant robot. I had some little one, I think.
Because Marvel did the comics for it.
They did, yeah.
It was in the back of every weekly Spider-Man comic.
There's a Spider-Man crossover, I think, with Zoids as well at some point, yeah. But yeah, it was a Japanese thing, and they repurposed it in America. It was flopped in Japan, but got big in America
It's
and big in
fucking
Europe.
cool.
So yeah, you used to build these like things. You must have seen them.
There was a black team, there was like a red team, and there was like a blue team, and each team had like a massive one that was like the boss one, but they were all smaller in size. But then you wound them up. They're fucking amazing.
Yeah, I mean they still make them.
Well, they did like a Generation 2, didn't they?
Yeah, but that's the one I always wanted, and I used to see it, and often it was the prize on like some fucking game show that you'd watch, like I don't know, the movie show or something. And it'd be like one of the fucking prizes they'd win.
What a show that was.
That was fucking class show, man. Yeah. So Todd, what was the toy that you always wanted?
Mine was nice and simple. I don't know why. It wasn't particularly out of the realm of possibility to have got it. I just never owned it, and I always fucking loved going around to a mate's house and seeing that they had it. But it was crossbows and catapults.
Fucking crossbows and catapults.
Fucking hell, man!
I've still got it. Yeah, I've still got it. It's at home.
I remember it was like a board game.
So
wasn't it?
you
you
get
build
a certain
fucking-
amount of bricks per player. It's a 2-player game, and you're basically on the other side of a battlefield. What is it, like a big chessboard?
It's just a
sort of
big
thing?
board, yeah.
And you
build-
basically you get a chance to build any wall you want. You get a certain amount of bricks. So say you get 12 bricks, you can either make it fucking 3 deep, 3 high, or 4 high, whatever, or you can fucking make it really tall, or make it up in steps. But then you actually got like little fucking elastic band.
There's a crossbow and there is a
and then you basically you put like a checker sort of style disc in it, and then you tension it up and fire it at the wall. And what is it? As many bits you knock down, you then put on your wall.
Yeah, because you had like a little castle turrety type thing as well that you could build into your wall.
Right.
So I think you had like one of those as well. I think the aim of it was to knock that over. I've still got it.
Fucking hell.
We should fucking
have
play
a game,
it.
man.
We should fucking play
Yeah,
it.
yeah, well, that should be the next book.
We'll do it live. We'll do a live YouTube.
But that's the thing. Looking back on it now, it's probably every game should have been over in 2 minutes. It probably wasn't much to shout about, but it had moving parts. You could fire something.
Yeah.
You know, and the object of the game was to destruct.
Yeah.
You know, and knock your opponent's wall down. But on the checkers, they were like a Vikings.
They were red and blue, weren't they? I think they all had the same image. I think it was a Viking.
Right, you were either just red or blue.
Yeah.
I never had it, but I've got a memory of playing it at someone's house.
Board games back then, though, were fucking brilliant. Like, I know.
outlandish, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking Ghost Castle.
That was amazing.
That was amazing.
That was
I mean, the idea
was
of
scary.
a moving part on a board game.
A glow-in-the-dark fucking skull.
And it was
You
kind
put
of
it in the
like,
middle, and then if it lands in your room, you have to wear your little scared mask.
I know.
It's fucking amazing.
But also, when it came down the bottom, sometimes it could flip you off the board.
It was a bit terrifying,
It was.
wasn't it?
Everything I know about that game is from an advert. I've never played it.
Haven't you? Oh,
I do know,
it for
but
Christmas.
it was like 3D. It came off the fucking board. It was like you could drop that dice down, which meant there was a tunnel in there somewhere. It was like, it's like fucking hell.
Well, like Mousetrap.
Mousetrap.
I mean,
He spent fucking hours making that thing.
And then you just set it off. You wouldn't bother playing the game. That's what we always did. We built it. And like, yeah, do it. And we just had to go.
That's another one of those childhood memories I know I'm remembering from being like maybe fucking 3 or 4 and badgering my brothers and being like, someone play. And obviously they were like, no, fuck off. We don't want to do that. And I was like,
I'm 18, boy.
I'll say it. Why are you messaging me in your bonnet about this? I don't get it. Anyway, in order to try and like convince them to play, I'd be like, well, I'll set it up, and they're like, go on then. And it would, like, I'd open the box, and it wasn't like, where do I start? It was like, what am I fucking looking at? Obviously, my brain was so fucking primitive and so young, I couldn't even fucking start.
For some reason, sort of like board games, you just sort of forget about them. But Mr. Pop.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Is it pirate or something?
No,
just Mr. Pop.
It was this face, and he had like little holes where his eyes, nose, and mouth and ears and all that stuff.
Oh, I fucking remember.
And you would put him down, and
Yeah,
it would be on
yeah.
a timer. And I think you had to put in like different eyebrows.
Yeah.
It was a bit like
Mr. Pop goes pop.
But beware, should you stop, Mr. Pop goes pop.
yeah, it was a bit
I
like
had
Guess
one.
Who or
I had
something,
one, but I
like it
can't
was
remember- I
like,
still can't
and it
remember.
would fling them out,
Yeah.
wouldn't it?
Do you remember that other face thing? It was like a fucking head, and you put like slime in it and shit. His face was like real fucking deformed and
was
shit.
cool.
Yeah.
That's in the mirror.
Oh, Monster Face.
Monster Face, that was it.
Missed that.
The advert for that I remember as a kid was fucking terrifying.
I can't remember
fuck
it.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, it was good.
One of the board games that sort of rode the wave onto the sort of next gen interactive was Atmosphere.
Oh, I had that.
Classic.
Did you?
Yeah,
Never played
I had Atmosphere.
Atmosphere.
Yeah, it was all right. Well, it's
yeah.
basically you put it on your TV. It had like certain time you'd be playing, and then it'd be like, "Oh, stop what you're doing now!" And it started off with this fucking gatekeeper, or like it was like a fucking
It was like Nightmare, wasn't it? The TV
yeah.
show.
But by the end of it, you could see all his skull and his eyes are yellow, and his voice is. It was like, "Oh god!"
Fucking scary. Because
Yeah.
I swear I remember playing that the same sort of time as Ghostwatch first ever aired.
Oh, fucking hell.
And so like they're quite sort of like intertwined in my memory, those two things. Yeah, fucking what a game.
But if we wanted to do a Halloween special, fucking Ghostwatch would be a real good
Ghostwatch
show.
would be good.
Yeah,
that's
do
a
a
classic.
review of. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I think you could have a real good chat about Ghostwatch. Okay, so Al, what was your toy that you wish you had?
I think one one that sort of stands out because a lad who used to live up our road, he used to have quite a few of them, and they were always something that I wish I'd played with a little bit more, but they were the Manta Force toys. They were like...
Manta Force?
Yeah, I think it was Manta Force.
Yeah,
so it was like they were big vehicles, and they had like these little soldiers and all this sort of stuff. There were fucking hundreds of like little soldiers, and it was like creating like sort of like a sci-fi type fucking war, because they just had
I recognise the name, but
and
none
stuff.
of this.
But it was just something that I remember playing with at this lad's house, and just never had one.
I remember because you had the one Manta Force thing, and it was almost a bit like a UFO. It was silver, and it had a thing, and it had those little guys, and it was a different sort of toy line because they were so small, like the figures, they were real tiny, and even smaller than like Mask, weren't they? Manta
Oh
Force.
yeah.
And then I remember the other one because the lad I knew had this other one. It was like the Viper ship. It was this big sort of spaceship, and it had these little yellow.
Was it red?
Guys. It was red. Yeah,
Yeah, the
big
red one.
and it could break down into like loads of other smaller ships.
There was a big sort of like triangularly shaped purple one, which I think was like the bad guys.
Yeah.
Not 100% on that.
They were fucking cool though, man.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons why the 80s I think seems like such a golden year for toys, obviously probably a little bit because we're biased and that's where we were born, so we probably, obviously there were some fucking amazing toys in the 90s as well. But one of the reasons why it seems so good is because Ronald Reagan relaxed the laws on advertising and children's TV, and it led the way to the idea of like toy companies creating a cartoon which was just a fucking half an hour advert for whatever toy, so everything like He-Man and fucking Transformers.
It's really sad.
Visionaries.
It's really sad when you think about it though, isn't it? Because it's like someone's making a monkey out of you, aren't they? You invested all of your childhood dreams into this thing that they created to sell you
But they
toys.
did get like comic book creators and stuff to come up with the plot lines, didn't they? Like, I swear like the original concept of He-Man was somebody from Marvel as well, because it's very close to sort of Asgard and all that sort of stuff, and I might be wrong, we have to look it up. But yeah, so that's why there was this explosion of sort of 80s Centaurians.
Yeah.
That was almost one that I picked.
Centaurians. Power
I love
Extreme.
Centurions. They stood out in all the fucking equipment strapped.
Yeah. And then, so
Didn't one of them die in one of the episodes? It was like, everyone was like, fuck, did you see one of the Centaurians died last week?
Well, I remember one of them had a tash and was quite clearly based on Tom Selleck.
I remember having that on the Commodore 64 actually, the Centaurians game.
But they were cool because they were like quite big. They were like action bad sort of size.
Decent toys as well.
They were. I never had one, man. I
toys.
don't ever fucking saw one. But you had the one guy who was there, and he had various like sort of helmet and like a fucking backpack until eventually he looked like almost like a fucking plane. And then you had like a submarine one, and then you had like a land one with like wheels, wasn't it? And he turned into like a vehicle.
I think so, yeah.
They were fucking cool, but I never even saw one of them.
Yeah.
I'm going to butch this conversation up a little bit. The a la carte kitchen.
A la carte kit, yeah.
Wake up, Daddy. Breakfast ready.
Wake up, Daddy, breakfast ready.
I saw this little girl making what turned out to be fucking jam roly-poly and cold baked beans. But I remember thinking, well, that's it. If she can cook, so can I. And it says in a little watermark across the advert, contains 2 incandescent bulbs. So it's like there's pictures of kids putting fucking cake mix in there, and then it's coming out like fucking melted chocolate. That oven is doing jack fuck.
Nothing,
It is doing nothing.
Well, you get away with a lot in the 80s.
That's what I mean, it's mental, but it's like they stuck a light bulb in it and told kids that it was cooking food. The shit that fucking some parents must have eaten.
So let's get to what you think the best toy line. And I think this can be what you think.
So it doesn't
the
have to
ultimate
be
toy line is, or what your personal opinion is.
Kenner anyway made some absolute fucking bangers.
Ken had a couple of good lines, didn't
What
he?
was under the Kenner line then? Was it
Star Wars and Ghostbusters.
Was Ghostbusters Kenner, was it?
Yeah.
Barbie was Mattel.
Yeah, Barbie would have been Mattel. Mattel just always seems like one of the big 80s ones you sort of
Probably did a few.
Oh, they've done fucking loads. It was like it was always on their thing. It was like it was either only by Tomy or Mattel. Fucking, it was always somewhere, but I couldn't tell you what one of them was apart from Barbie.
If you had to pick though, what like specific line?
Well, I had so many Mask toys. Vehicle. They were like Mask, Mobile Armoured Strike Command.
Oh.
And what were the bad guys called?
Venom.
That was like villainous, evil...
Vicious Evil Network of Mayhem.
Who joins that?
And the main villain was Miles Mayhem. So Kenner made the toys, which came out in 85, I think. And the TV show, I think, only ran for a couple of years. I don't think it had a massive run.
It had a good fucking intro, though.
Masked Crusaders working overtime, fighting crime, fighting crime.
It was just brilliant. And of course DC did a couple of hundred comics. The TV show was done by a company called DIC. who did stuff like Cities of Gold, Inspector Gadget, Care Bears, Jason the Wheel Warriors, Real Ghostbusters, Super Mario Show, G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
So I mean, they had some fucking chops when it came to like doing
Got a
decent.
golden touch.
Yeah, and also Micro Machines as well. I had boxes and fucking boxes of Micro Machines. So
That was
I
just
mean,
a
it was
fucking license to rob, wasn't it? Micro Machines.
so cool though, because you
fun,
could get
yeah,
so
yeah.
many different things, and they had like tie-ins with different films as well, because you could get like Star Wars ones, and they had monster trucks and all that sort of stuff, and then just
Anybody that sort of they wanted to fucking copy that would, you know, you'd be stupid, wouldn't you, not to get in on Micro Machines? Could make a DeLorean or something.
the Ring Raiders was pretty much exactly the same.
Ring Raiders.
Ring Raiders.
Do you remember those?
Ring Raiders.
They were like the jet planes that you would
put
put
on a
on
ring.
your finger.
Oh, and they.
No, they had like a little bit of plastic thing,
Yeah,
and
you
you
fire.
could just like fly these planes around on your fingers, like. But they were riding the wave of Micro Machines because they were obviously tiny figures. You could like wear them on your, you know, like fucking Ring Raiders.
Speaking of Ring Raiders, made me think of Flipsiders. It was like a plastic cassette, but you would flip it, and when you flicked it, a hinged playing board would come out, and
Yeah.
it had magnetic bits, and it was a magnetic board game with miniature bits. Flip side. Stick 'em in your pocket, have some fun tonight.
Something along those lines with like the flipping stuff as well and all that. Pogs. I mean, Pogs.
Pogs, yeah.
I
Never
think they were pretty late 80s.
That
And
was
of
just
course,
after my time.
then they had like the offshoots of like Tazos, which you could get in like Walker's Crisp.
Tazos I had at the start of the Star Wars collection from 1987 when they re-released the special edition, and I had all of them bar one. And I fucking was laying a carpet with Mikey around this house, and this kid had left his on the side, and he had the one I was supposed to.
shit.
So I just fucking had it.
Oh man,
I finished
terrible.
the collection. That's how I finished. I don't feel good about it.
No.
Like, you got them free in a packet of crisps. Do you
Do you
know what I mean?
want to take this moment to apologise to him?
If you were stealing Tazos in like fucking,
It was like
18 or 19
fucking
or something.
1997, wasn't it? I was 17. I was laying a carpet as labour for one of my mates. And I saw a Tazo in this fucking book and I had it.
Oh, I thought you were like some 8 or 9 year old.
No,
Know better.
I'm sorry.
No.
I am sorry.
If you had new carpet and misplaced a Tazo in the same day, that's your man.
Yes. Yeah. I've still got the fucking Tazo. You can have the whole book. I don't care. But nothing of bad luck.
yeah,
So what you would say Mask is your
I think so.
pretty strong shout, I think.
Well, I'm pretty sure that fucking He-Man has to have been the biggest. live
He-Man was fucking
of
big,
the
wasn't it?
80s, and I was thoroughly swept up in it.
It was pretty fucking good as well.
It's fucking great.
I could be completely biased because, like I said, I was firmly swept up.
The cool thing about the He-Man figures is every single one of them was completely different. It's not like most toy lines where you get a bit of a reskin.
Well, some of them
Don't
are
you?
similar
But
to
Well,
it,
there's
so
that one
yes.
He-Man that was like a different colour.
Oh yeah, but I mean that was
Yeah.
you had ones you could take apart with two heads and
you could like take their arms off. And
only on that
yeah.
one.
You weren't supposed to be able to, but you
No.
could rip their arms out of the sockets because they were like little ball joint.
No, but they were held together with elastic, weren't they? So if you took the fucking arms out, they were fucked.
Yeah, the little elastic band in the middle.
Yeah,
and that
there's
was
elastic
always a
band on the
cunt
legs and elastic band
when
on
your
the arms.
figures would break, and it would always be the legs.
Yeah. What was his cat called?
Cringe.
Battle Cat.
Battle Cat.
Cringer when he was a tiger, and Battle Cat when he was his.
And it had that crazy sort of fur on it.
No, that was
Panther.
Panther.
Right.
He was velvety.
green.
He was the same tiger. He was just covered in felt instead of.
Yeah, but He-Man's one was just green, wasn't it?
Just
Green
like
and yellow
plus
stripes.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
The Ram Man.
Ram Man was fucking great.
There was that one with the big eyes that used to fucking pop out. Oh, it was a fucking Triclops when he turned his eye round and it was different
that
eyes.
There was somebody when you twist their body, their fucking neck extended.
There's one with the
Suckers,
suckers, that was a
yeah.
cool one, yeah.
I had one where you
Merman.
span a little disc on his back and his arms would swing out, and he had like a radar or something on his chest. Don't know what the
Oh, he's
fuck
like a
it was.
robot woman, yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And like when you span him, his arms would just come up and he would spin round.
I
And,
don't-
I don't know what.
There was
don't
one
know what
about
it was.
cobras for arms. Do you remember it? Like,
Yeah,
a bit
he
like,
just rings a bell. He's got a cobra for a head as well, hadn't he?
Yeah, if he said a bit of him pops off or something.
He was a Hordak.
It might have been a Hordak one as well.
Hordak to me was He-Man Part 2.
It was part of She-Ra's range, wasn't it? Hordak was She-Ra's.
enemy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We had some good shit with that, though.
Well, storyline-wise, Skeletor was He-Man's uncle. He was his dad's brother, and he became like the trainee of this like kind of demon bloke, which was Hordak. And then he fucked Hordak over and stole like his powers, but in doing so, he melted his face off, so he was a skeleton face. So the first part of like He-Man was that, and then the second part with like She-Ra and stuff. That's when they managed to find the dimension that Skeletor had escaped to.
What was the the fucking little guy?
Orko.
Orko. Do you and you had a thing that you could like pull?
He was a wineback toy, wasn't he? Was he one where you'd have one one of those things where you fed it through and
That's it.
Yeah. You pull it through like that and you shoot off. Don't see any of those anymore. I used to look at sparks going off inside it.
That's probably why, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was that Ghostbusters one that did it as well, with the green one with his tongue out with the shoes that you could fire across the floor, wasn't there?
And obviously you had Castle Grayskull.
Castle Grayskull was fucking massive, and Snake Mountain. They were just such big fucking toys, weren't they?
Yeah, He-Man is a very good shout, isn't it?
Never had those. Never had the castle or anything.
Oh,
Too much mask stuff everywhere.
Too much mask stuff and Lego and Micro Machines.
what was yours, Murph?
My favourite, and I don't think it's best, I think it's very flawed, was the Ghostbusters toy line.
Yeah.
I just got such a love of it because obviously I fucking love Ghostbusters, and it was so weird because you'd seen the movie. And the movie's quite dark and fucking...
Yeah, they did. It was odd because they were like, right, you've got obviously it was after the real Ghostbusters, but then you had Marshmallow Man and Slimer, and they were like, right, we've got this whole fucking show that they've created, and you've got all these films, and they're going to make a load of really weird, nothing to do with any of it.
That's it. Because apart from like obviously the original line looked like the real Ghostbusters cartoon.
Yeah.
But the weird thing was, as a kid, you just accepted that this is the Ghostbusters, even though they look completely fucking different.
I mean, there was a couple of quite cool ones, but like Bug Eye Ghost was fucking cool when he fired his eye out.
Big purple dude.
But I mean, you always broke the fucking eye off, didn't you?
Well, this is so you had
hurt. As well. It was like solid plastic.
Well, yeah, the original line of the Ghostbusters. Remember, they came with those little like.
There's a ghost each, wasn't there?
They would fit on like the one fitted on one of their heads, didn't it? And stuff, and they all had different.
And they had the pack that you turn the thing and
and it would spin round. So that was sort of pretty cool. So I love that, and obviously Ecto 1 was fucking cool with the seat on the top.
Yeah,
I like Ghostbusters, but I am not a super fan. I remember whatever year it was, the fucking one thing I really wanted was Ecto 1, and I never got it. And after that, I lost interest in Ghostbusters for a very long time. And I think in an alternate universe, I got Ecto 1.
Yeah,
and it's
your
like,
love would have been
and I feel like I was fucking shattered by not getting that. I turned my back on it.
I was lucky enough to have that and the Firehouse.
Oh, I never had either of those.
The Firehouse is fucking awesome, man. And like you could like put the figure on it and it would go down the fireman's pole. My memory of it is awesome because there was a bit like you could pour
the slime. I remember I can still remember the smell of the slime.
Yeah.
And you used to have it in the tubs, didn't you?
Yeah, and you could pour the slime over someone and it would fall through the thing on top of them. But it was shit in hindsight because Ecto 1 barely fitted through the fucking doors, and then like each level of the firehouse was just empty. It was just a floor. But I mean, it was massive. I had loads of fun with it. It was fucking amazing. The containment unit was odd and was like separate and couldn't fit inside of it, so it was a very flawed thing. But the other cool thing was all the other stuff like the proton pack and the trap and the ghost popper and all that.
It had like a pool noodle on the end of the fucking thing.
Big,
like yellow fucking foam tube,
And the PKE meter would spin
fucking hell
around the top, man.
But all of the other ghosts they brought out were just odd because you had like the first range with like Granny Gross, the quarterback, and there was a fucking water pistol that came in 2 parts, wasn't there?
But this is what we talked about earlier, wasn't it? It was why you've got the fucking made up villains, is because how far can you go if you've only got a little bit to work off? So it's like, well, just fucking make a load of ghosts up. And
the TV show was so great though. There were so many good villains.
Yeah,
like,
there were.
But it just screams of cash cow, didn't it? It just screams of like, let's get some shit out there, let's get some money, and then it's just.
Of course, I mean, I never had Ecto 1 or the Firehouse, but I had Ecto 2.
Ecto 2,
the gyrocopter.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it's just, they're just cashing in.
Yeah, no, man, they were bizarre. And then you had the horror movie ones, you had like a Dracula and a werewolf.
There's the Ghostbusters fright feature ones when you squeeze their arms and their eyes will pop out.
Yes.
And their hair will pop off.
Ray had a Ghostbusters t-shirt on.
I fucking got that one at home.
Because he's actually got his goggles on.
Yeah.
It's the first time you sort of see him. And it looks a little bit like he's wearing an actual movie outfit. And that was one of the coolest ones.
Yeah, I think I got that from a car boot sale, like 50p.
And the one when Egon was like, "Bah!" with his face. You know what I mean? The fright features one.
Yeah.
And Winston like, "Bah!"
His mouth came out,
That was cool though. Like, look at the effort that went into toys. I mean, alright, it was all just money grabbing, but like now, I took my daughter into a toy shop the other day and it's just all bullshit.
It's all bullshit. All of it.
Well, 30 years from now, I bet my kid will be saying all this shit about Paw Patrol and all that other.
And a lot more sort of like electronic sort of stuff.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not versing it against every toy now. I'm just saying for like a 6 or an 11-inch figure, they used to put a lot of effort in, like, you know, detail.
Incredibly descriptive details.
I don't know. I think they're more tech now than ever.
Because they used to look quite realistic as well, didn't they? Torsos and stuff like that. And I guess I don't get involved in that world anymore. So
I think nostalgia is a clouding your.
Right.
There's a lot of cool shit out there at the moment. Probably more than ever.
Yeah, so Ghostbusters, that was my favourite one. And because you had the toys, which I love playing with. You had a load of crazy ghosts. It did get like shitter as it went on.
It did. I got arrested once when I was 13 for trying to steal a Ghostbusters toy from Woolworths.
Oh, which one?
I know, he was so scared. Well, I actually succeeded. Right, it was this like tube ghost on 4 legs, and you hit it and something popped out of it. It was right at the end of the range.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I could fucking steal this. Who's going to stop me? So I was walking round and round this thing for ages. It must have been so obvious. And I ran through a shop, out the back door, all the way to Barclays. And I was like, stood there for 5 minutes, and then fucking someone grabs me, like, store detective. I was like, no, please, let me go. Let me go. They held me outside fucking Littlewoods, and I was just crying my eyes out. And I was like, please. Yeah, I got taken to the police station. Mum was crying. Never shoplifted again.
Fucking hell.
It was awful. It was just the worst.
Stealing fucking Tazos.
I know.
Those are the high points.
So yeah, Ghostbusters, went a bit shit near the end, but like I love the fact that you had the big bits you could play with on the little ones, and yeah, it was cool.
I just want to do an honourable mention first and say Transformers is cool, isn't it? It's some real cool shit in Transformers line. I was close on saying some of the toys I wanted and ended up going with Donkey Kong because I remember how much I wanted it, but the fucking Dinobots. Always wanted a Dinobot. All of the Dinobots
That's
are fucking cool.
That's what I was thinking of when you were on about Zoids, Dinobots.
Ah, right.
One was a Triceratops, wasn't it?
Slag.
Because
he could breathe fire, but they've renamed him Slug now.
Have they?
Yeah.
I had him.
Did you have Slag, did you?
Yeah.
Sludge was the Brontosaurus, Swoop was the Pterodactyl, Snarl was the Stegosaurus, and then Grimlock was the T-Rex.
Yeah. Grimlock was the coolest.
They're all fucking cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's good. But anyway, so yeah, Transformers was cool. But I'm going to have to go for Star Wars. Because it started all of it, really.
Yeah.
George Lucas had said he wanted a big percentage of the toy line.
Yes.
In exchange for not being paid as much on Star Wars.
Did some of the actors...
Probably the wisest thing anyone's ever done.
Yeah, but yeah,
fucking hell, so many.
And it was just so exciting because there was like rows and rows and rows of them. And then I was like fucking 3 or 4. And my mum used to buy me one every Friday. And there was once I chose Yoda. And I was like, can I have a Jawa as well? Because they're both really small. She's like, go on then. Oh God, this is going to sound real awful. Because I'm going to tell you another story about
Have you stolen another toy?
Do you stab the fucking shopkeeper or something?
I haven't wanted this to come out like this. It's just coincidence.
Right.
But
it's therapy.
Yeah, it must be.
I stole a Star Wars figure off my mate when we were very small. It was this Luke in Stormtrooper outfit.
Oh man, that was my favourite one.
And I stuck it in my shoe and stole it. And then, this sounds really bad after all that I've said tonight. We've all done bad things, okay? So I stole this figure, and then I realised that I couldn't really play with it because I was worried that someone would be like, where did you get that from? So I used to like have a bit of a play with it in secret, but guiltily, and didn't enjoy it. And then my mum had we'd gone to the town hall to pay rent or some shit. And I was playing with it on like the back of the radiator, and I dropped it down this hole, and I couldn't reach it because I was too small.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell anyone, could you grab it? Because they'd be like, where'd you get it from? You fucking nicked it. The only person I'm going to ask is my mum. She's the only person there, do you know what I mean?
She ain't going to remember whether she bought it or not.
Well, I was like 4 or something. You know what I mean? I was like a master strategist.
Get your head on, man.
You're a fledgling master criminal.
So I could see it, but I couldn't reach it, and I couldn't ask for someone to help me, so I left. And I was like, fuck, what am I going to do? So when we got back the next week, I thought, I'll say I dropped this toy last week because it wouldn't be so suspicious. So I went to go and have a look, and someone had fucking had it. It had fucking gone. It really taught me a lesson about you not being able to enjoy a stolen thing.
Karma kicked in after that, and you still continued to steal your way around the shops.
Tony Soprano. Fucking
Star Wars for me, I feel like you see a film where there's a gay child and the dad won't accept.
What the fuck?
Wow.
Jesus Christ. He cried.
So
you know when you see a film and it's like there's got like a gay child and the dad refuses to accept it.
Okay, right,
yeah. It was almost like Star Wars for me. I must have been giving off some serious gay vibes or something because for a while I just got bought fucking Star Wars thing after Star Wars thing, but I wasn't getting into it.
What's this to do with being a gay child?
Well, if you hadn't made a big deal out of it, it was just kind of like you will like Star Wars. I think I must have been playing with a skipping rope or something at the time because it was like all these Star Wars toys kept turning up.
But what's this gay bit got to do with
What's this gay child?
Maybe I was being a bit feminine for my dad at the time, so he started buying me loads of Star Wars toys.
Well, Star Wars is really feminine. What?
Oh, trying to butch you up?
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So you were the gay child?
Yeah.
Oh, this is therapy for you now.
What I'm saying is I got Star Wars forced on me, but I just never took to it.
I'm still collecting them now.
They did sort of ships and
The ships are fucking
vehicles
cool. They're
massive.
so much better than any other toy.
The Millennium Falcon and that.
They were amazing.
Incredible.
The
The
cool
X-Wing.
thing with the ships especially, but also with like the carded ones, is they'd have some fucking diorama they made.
Yeah.
Using figures and characters, kind of from the same scenes, but it was different from the film. You'd be like, fuck, well, what's going on there? That was always really exciting.
I mean, Star Wars was just pretty cool at the time. I didn't have that many of the Star Wars figures. I remember having the Stormtrooper Luke. I think I had a Rancor.
Yeah, I had a Rancor. I got a Rancor for my 7th birthday. I fucking broke its arm off a couple of weeks later. My granddad repaired it, but
Never the
it was
same.
never limber enough.
Never the same. I was the youngest of 3, so like my 2 older brothers would always get a lot of toys anyway, so they would always drip feed down. But Steve in particular, he had so many Star Wars toys and all the vehicles, and I'm pretty sure my mum got rid of them.
Did he make many a diorama?
He did, but he jumped out of bed the one morning off one of those beds with like
A cabin bed.
Yeah. Jumped off her and put his foot through the fucking Millennium Falcon. Absolutely
Oh,
gut.
that was a good figure, that Millennium Falcon, as well.
Absolutely gutting. But I swear my mum got rid of all of our vehicles at car boot for 20 odd years.
The fucking He-Man stuff I had that got car booted.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell.
Crazy.
I
I remember that big Zeppelin looking thing. I remember that having like quite a decent inside, and also the Falcon, because you had like the chess table or whatever it was,
And the ATST, they're cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what, to be fair, that probably might take a point away from my He-Man, because the inside of Castle Grayskull and fucking all the rest of it was non-existent, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There was nothing in there at all. There was like a shelf.
A mere facade.
And considering
was.
Star Wars is quite early 80s as well, do you know what I mean? So they got in there at quite a high level.
Well, it's like fucking 70s.
Yeah.
77, like.
Yeah.
Well, it was the first one, really, isn't it?
It was.
Everyone
Everyone was like, fuck, you can make money out of this.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, any honourable mentions? What I got here is Muscle Men.
Oh, I've got a load of those at home
They were
still.
so
You said to me about them, right? And I thought I knew what you meant, and then I saw them, and I was like, I've never seen one of those in my fucking life.
Yeah.
I've never seen one
I got
in
a
my
ton of
life.
those.
They were fucking. You bought them in like tubs, didn't you?
Every single one was so fucking cool.
Yeah,
It was
they were all different
like-
as well. But yeah, they were amazing. I got Super Cup football. I doubt anyone played it, but it was like this little sort of electronic board game type thing.
Oh, I remember.
And you had like 5 knobs on each side, and you would twizzle the knob to turn the man.
I see.
I remember Sabutio, I don't remember that.
Yeah, no, it was that was always a fun one.
Teddy Ruxpin.
Teddy
Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah.
Never had one.
Never had one, yeah.
Never had one.
Some
never
posh
had
twat
one.
would always bring one to fucking bring what you liked at school.
Werebears, I liked. I had a Werebear.
Werebears
I've got
were cool,
a
man.
werebear.
Have you? Yeah, Werebears.
They were
pretty
cool.
Fucking cool, man.
The purple one was like the main one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And you could break his chain. Could you break his chain?
Oh no, that was a different one. That was
my
Pet Monster.
Was it? Yeah.
Cool, man.
My Pet Monster, yeah, shit, of course.
I mean, the one that I didn't mention, and it's kind of like late 80s, early 90s, was Turtles.
That was another big line, wasn't it?
I was a big fan of the
So
Turtles.
many of them.
The Turtle Blimp as well, with the Turtle one.
yeah,
I
yeah.
wish I never had that. But that was fucking
Have
cool.
you seen that meme floating about at the moment with the turtles wanted to stay secret and hide in a sewer for like 20 years, and then there's just a picture of the blimp with like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles wrote on the side flying through the fucking city.
Yeah, it makes no sense, but it was a fucking cool toy. The sewer, I had the sewer.
Did you?
The sewer was fucking class.
It was just after my time, Turtles. It was one of my mates had a couple and we played them a bit, but I never had any.
Kang was fucking cool as well.
And another one we haven't mentioned is fucking Thundercats.
Yeah, man.
Thundercats.
Do you anybody remember Afterburner, the little tabletop arcade?
Yeah.
It had like a plane controller, but it was a tiny
And a little screen,
a little
like, sort of
LCD
thing.
screen. Yeah, but
It was like that Tony Racer, wasn't it?
Yes.
Where you had like a little.
it was like a little LED fucking lit up road that looked like it went off into the fucking distance, but your car was just obviously on a stick behind the
it's
windscreen.
going like-
You could only go left or right so far. But
It was like Outrun, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
Well, the front of the
HQ.
machine was like the dashboard was like actually at the front of the
Yeah,
car,
yeah.
wasn't it? That was pretty cool.
Mad Balls.
Loved them.
They were
Marbles,
great.
Yeah, they
I
were
loved
cool.
them. Great.
Well, they had several incarnations, didn't they? You could get them as like water sprayers, as whatever. But I had the little figures where the heads popped off.
You could soak those mad balls in water anyway and like lob them at someone, and they were like fucking so hard because they were like
Yeah,
quite
they were
soft,
solid.
weren't they?
They
But-
soft.
Yeah, no, they were soft. The
could
mad
squidge 'em,
balls,
right? Yeah.
and if you soaked them in water, they would get real heavy. You could fucking.
There was
launch
an
'em.
eyeball one, wasn't there? And there was the one that was like a ball with a ring through its nose.
Yeah.
That was like
It
the
was a
main
maze
one.
werewolf.
Purpley
It was a
one with
werewolf.
like staples or something on
Yeah,
his mouth
yeah,
as
yeah.
well. Yeah,
I never had him. The
I had quite a
skeleton
few
one.
of those. Had quite a few.
Yeah.
What about fucking Visionary? you remember them?
Amazing.
Because they were like hologram.
They were like a solid plastic sheet with like, well, it was supposed to be like a cape, but they were like, like
and then they were a bit scary. They were.
There was a cartoon with that.
I still got some at home.
Well, the Harry Potter
Mum and Dad's,
Dementors.
Yeah, they look like sort of a Dementor.
Yeah,
but they were holographic,
thing,
weren't they?
Yeah.
That's another one of those things I probably got bought to shut up because I had one and I never knew why I had it.
Do you remember the Beetlejuice figures?
Nah.
That was quite a late, like, came up years after Beetlejuice.
The fucking aliens figures were cool.
They're unstoppable!
They were cool. They came out in the 90s.
They came out way too late.
Yeah.
They were Kenner.
They were Kenner.
They were actually pretty sweet, especially the one which looked bang on like.
He exploded, didn't it?
Yeah.
I got
bang on
that one.
like a xenomorph from Aliens. Then monster finger puppets. Do you remember them?
I
They're
do.
Like plastic things.
Like little jelly fucking feeling things.
Yeah. You should like Frankenstein and shit.
Yeah.
And some of us remembered from those California raisins.
That used to be on a Sunday morning, but they really weren't very good. And yet they had a toy line. Were they out over here?
Yeah, it was one of those weird things, just like the 80s, sort of bit like that fucking Pepsi can that used to dance, or the fucking flowers.
The flowers dance to music.
It's like the sort of shit you get
wanted
for
one
fucking
of them.
our price or something.
I wanted one of those dancing Coke cans.
They were pretty fucking cool, weren't they? I think
had
they used to have
shades
it
and shit on, didn't they?
in our
Yeah,
price.
it's great.
On the advert when they can put a funky tune over the top and you can't hear it, but when it's fucking it's not quite all it's cracked up to be. Scale Electric should have been up there.
Oh,
yeah, class.
But I defy anybody to fucking find somebody who had one that worked properly for more than 2 weeks because something always went wrong with them. They were notoriously bad. I do remember that I had one though with like fucking metros, and I had the little the pump that you could put a little pipe under the track, and it had a little like just literally a rubber pump, and you just hit it and it would blow some air under the track. So if you got the car going over it and hit it at the right time, you'd blow the car off the track.
Nice.
That's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, it was alright.
I remember spending a lot of time having to sort of re-twizzle the little metal bits under the car so they would hit the track.
They worked great for 2 weeks, but then something goes wrong. They cost fucking mega money, but you won't find anybody who's got a working one.
I might get my fucking Boy Scout. I bet they've sorted that out now. No, I'll just be a Christmas present for them or something. But
yeah, they are mad.
I bought another one in the hope that I could get Darcy into it, but it broke just for 2 weeks.
What I think were some of the biggest selling toys. Trolls were up there, weren't they?
Yeah.
Garbage Pail Kids, I think, was one of the biggest sort of selling toys.
I don't never sell toys. It was more cards we used to trade at primary school.
Cabbage Patch Dolls, they were the fucking massive one as well, weren't they? Silverhawks.
Silverhawks.
I remember I asked for a video one year and ended up getting a Silverhawks and an Action Force video. Never in my life had I ever heard of Silverhawks, but I used to watch it all the fucking time. It was set in space. They were silver looking dudes, the Silverhawks. There was one who had a guitar that used to shoot like notes out of it and like blow up fucking planes. It was fucking nuts. Screwball Scramble.
Screwball Scramble. I was on the Screwball Scramble. I got it from a car boot. It wasn't very good. It's too hard.
Airfix model planes. And like I just remember having them in your bedroom hanging off the roof on some string, and you'd have like a dog fight going on in the fucking. They were amazing, man.
But yeah, those ones you got from the fucking news agents where you make them on the way home from school. Well, they like glider, or it was like, oh, this one's a Fokker. It was like, oh.
That's like a 70s toy, isn't it? Which has made it into the 80s.
You have like the little plastic thing on the end for a bit of weight. You'd also put this like nose on, like
yeah, they were fucking cool.
Well,
toys.
So there you are. So that was our bonus episode.
You like toys? I like toys.
I want to play with toys.
Oh, we can make this happen with crossbows and catapults.
Definitely up for a game of crossbows and catapults.
Yeah,
and what a brilliant trip down memory lane.
Yes.
That was fantastic.
Very warm, I feel.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to our bonus episode. We will be back with season 2 of our VHS showdown, where we'll be getting back into films and going through the films in the 80s. So look out for that.
Bye.
I am sorry.